So, you know how excited I was about the new house, right? That tiny patch of grass, the slow street. Finally a place that was mine, not just a space to crash or a box to store my stuff in. I spent my first week wandering from room to room, dragging boxes, humming to myself, picturing how I'd plant those stubborn gardenias, maybe hang a porch swing, maybe just exist. That little dream came crashing down on day 8, harder than I ever thought possible. There I was, Saturday morning, on the porch, elbow deep in one of those assembly-required bookcases, sweatpants covered in flecks of paint, and I see her. This woman striding across her lawn with that kind of intensity you only see from people who take their yard work way too seriously. Blonde helmet hair, a white blazer, pants so sharply creased you could cut yourself on them. And this sour look, like she'd just eaten a lemon she didn't order. She stops, dead still, arms crossed, right on the edge of my property, her toes almost daring to touch my grass. I give her a little wave, do the hi there, new neighbor, thing, expecting maybe a half smile. Instead, she just narrows her eyes, scans my porch, my mountain of boxes, me in my grungy glory. Then she just spits it out, loud enough for every nosy curtain twitcher on the cul-de-sac to hear. We don't want your kind here, bringing down the neighborhood with your music and your culture. My jaw must have hit the porch. My kind. IKEA furniture people? No gardener? For a second, I'm thinking this is some bizarre prank. But her face. No, that was real. That was venom. I barely managed to say, "Excuse me, what did you just say?" And she doubles down, stepping closer. "You heard me. This is a respectable community. We have standards. You should have stayed where you belong." I felt my face heat up, shock boiling straight to anger. "Where I belong," I said, real quiet, "is right here, in the house I just bought. So maybe you should take your standards and head on back to your own yard." Her face went from lemon sour to full-blown thunderstorm. She opened her mouth again, but I'd had enough. I turned, scooped up my box of screws, and let the screen door bang behind me. I stood there, shaking, heart thudding. Who the hell does that? About 5 minutes later, I peeked out the window and saw her peel out of her driveway in this cherry red Tesla, swinging way too wide and just crunch, right through the corner of my brand new white picket fence. Didn't stop, didn't look back. I stood there, looking at my splintered fence, and just thought, so this is how it's gonna be. After that, weird, strained silence. No apologies. No invoices for the scratch on her car, either. Just her glaring at me from her window like some cartoon villain every time I went outside to water the plants. Honestly, it got so creepy, I started feeling her eyes even when I couldn't see her. But I wasn't about to let her ruin my home, so I hired a guy, fixed the fence, filed a police report, which went nowhere, because she blamed a stray dog and, lucky me, no cameras, and kept living. But then packages started disappearing. Little things at first, a set of bamboo cutting boards. Tracking says delivered, but there's nothing on the porch when I get home. I checked everywhere, even with my sweet old neighbor on the other side. Nothing. Then it's my new running shoes. Same story. The delivery company was polite, but useless. Our driver's GPS shows the package was left at your address, ma'am. Stolen? That's what they said. On my quiet little street, where the only thing out of place was the woman who'd crashed my fence. At first I didn't want to believe it. Stealing packages is a whole new low, even for a racist neighbor. But it kept happening. Face cream, protein bars, and every time, it felt a little more intentional, a little more like a message. You're not welcome here, and I'll make sure you know it. Every new shipping notification had me racing home, hoping to beat her to the porch. Eventually, I started having packages delivered to work. Hassle, but better than fueling her hobby. Of course, I forgot sometimes, and that's how she scored my favorite handmade mug. I still picture her sipping coffee from it, grinning that cruel little grin. Enough was enough. I tried the official channels. I called the HOA, the number in that ridiculous welcome packet full of rules about mailbox colors and blade heights. The woman on the other end sounded bored before I even finished explaining, and all she offered was a reminder in the next newsletter. Yeah, a newsletter to stop a porch pirate. Next, I went to the police station in person. The cop looked about 3 days from retirement and couldn't have cared less. "You think she's stealing your packages, but you haven't seen her do it?" I said no, but explained the pattern. He shrugged. "Can't post a car for missing Amazon boxes." get evidence, call us back, and handed me a slip of paper with a report number. I walked out of there feeling small and alone. If I wanted justice, I'd have to get it myself. That night, I stayed up deep diving into home security cameras. I didn't want some blurry mess. I wanted proof in 4K, Technicolor. Spent a good chunk of my moving budget on a top-shelf system. Motion activated, night vision, instant alerts, the works. I set it up myself, drew a detection zone around the doormat, did a test run with an empty shoebox, and just waited. Nothing for 2 days. Then I realized she was too smart for obvious decoys. She wanted the real score. So, I ordered a 30-pound bag of specialty dog food. I don't even have a dog. Delivery comes in, camera catches everything. Her, in that same white blazer, darting across the street, grunting as she hauls the heavy bag back to her garage. I had her, clear as day, Hollywood style. I watched the video a dozen times, a giddy laugh bubbling up every time. But what now? Call the cops, hand them the footage, hope for justice? I pictured her getting a slap on the wrist, maybe a fine, maybe just more rage directed at me. No, this needed to be bigger, messier, poetic. I remembered those viral glitter bombs on YouTube, fart spray, clouds of sparkles. Too childish. Maybe, but glitter? Glitter is forever. I looked around my living room and spotted a can of bubblegum pink spray paint. And that's when the light bulb clicked. If I was going to fight back, it would be with style. The next few days, I turned into a mad scientist. Springs, plastic containers, dye, pounds of the brightest pink glitter I could buy. I rigged up a shoebox so when you opened it, a spring-flung lid would unleash a wave of dye and glitter. I packed it up in a high-end headphone box, made it heavy, made it irresistible, labeled it with my name. Then I waited for delivery day like a kid waiting for Christmas. I set the box out just after the mail truck made its rounds, right under the camera's watchful eye, and sat back with my phone open to the live feed. Hours passed, nothing. Then, right around 2 p.m., her garage door slid open. Her Tesla backed out, idled at the curb, and she got out. Made a show of checking her mailbox, eyes locked on my porch. She hesitated, then swooped in, scooped up the box, hustled back to her car. She sat in the driver's seat, box on the passenger side, hands trembling with greed. And then, she opened it. My camera caught every second. The lid springs open, a pink geyser erupts, glitter explodes everywhere. Her face, her hair, her white blazer, drenched in fuchsia, sparkling in the sun. The dye, the glitter, the shock, it was glorious. But the best part? The car. Her pristine white leather seats, dashboard, everything, transformed into a sparkly pink crime scene. She staggered out of the Tesla, wailing like a banshee, coated in neon sludge. Neighbors peeked out, joggers stopped, a dog walker stared. She was a living cautionary tale, hubris in pink, right in the middle of the street. She stormed across my lawn, shrieking accusations. I stepped out, arms crossed, as she pointed her trembling pink finger at me. "You did this," she screamed. I just smiled. "Did what?" "I've been inside all day. Looks like you had quite the adventure." She ranted about her ruined car, her ruined blazer, the dangerous device I'd left on my porch. "Oh," I said sweetly. "You mean the package you stole from my property? Maybe the police would love that footage. And while we're at it, I've still got the hit-and-run report from my fence." She blanched, looked up at my camera, realized she was caught. For the first time, the power shifted. She stormed off, pink footprints marking her walk of shame. I stood there, victorious, finally feeling like the nightmare might be over. But bullies never go quietly. 2 days later, I got an official HOA notice, hazardous device, community safety violation, the whole 9 yards. I was ordered to appear for a disciplinary hearing. She'd twisted the story, made herself the victim, and the board was eating it up. Furious, I called, but all I got was icy bureaucracy. They'd review all evidence at the hearing. Then a letter from her lawyer arrived, cease and desist, threats of lawsuits, a $20,000 bill for damages and emotional distress. It was the bully's final move, try to drown me in paperwork and fear. For a minute, I almost lost hope. But I found a lawyer, explained everything, sent him all my footage. He laughed. "Don't worry, we'll fight this. In fact, we'll countersue." Just like that, I had someone in my corner. But Sharon wasn't done. She ramped up her campaign. Her friends spread wild stories in the neighborhood Facebook group about how she was just trying to deliver a package to her sick grandchild, about how I'd booby-trapped my own porch. She even staged a scene with an ambulance, complete with her being wheeled out clutching her chest. Drama worthy of a daytime Emmy. It was all designed to sway public sympathy before the HOA hearing. That's when I started digging, contacting old neighbors, pulling court records, finding Instagram photos that proved her grandkids were perfectly healthy. My neighbor Frank, bless him, had already dropped a few bombs in the Facebook group about her history. I compiled everything. Maria, her ex-neighbor, shared how Sharon had made life hell for everyone for years. False complaints, calls to animal control, even fake police calls. Turns out, I wasn't her first victim, just the first one to fight back. Hearing day came, clubhouse packed. Sharon looked fragile, pale, her hair still tinged faintly pink. She spun her tale, painted me as the neighborhood menace, tears and all. My lawyer calmly played the videos, her stealing the packages, her crashing through my fence, her screaming those words on my porch. The room went silent. Her supporters stared at the floor. When it was done, I could feel the tide shift. The board stammered out that they'd take this new evidence under consideration. It wasn't justice, but it was enough. That night, I posted the video online. No commentary, just my new neighbor welcomed me to the neighborhood. By morning, it was everywhere. Viral, a national news story. Porch pirate gets pink payback. The real hook, the racism, the entitlement, sparked a firestorm. Suddenly, Sharon was infamous. The dominoes fell quick. The HOA dropped every complaint. The lawsuit was withdrawn. Her own lawyer dumped her, and she ended up paying for my fence, and then some. Within a month, she was gone. Moving truck, for sale sign, her husband nowhere in sight. The street felt lighter, the tension gone. Frank brought over a bottle of wine. We toasted on my porch, safe for packages at last. The new family who moved and brought cookies instead of lawsuits. Their laughter filled the air. My fence is fixed, my gardenias are thriving, and my porch swing creaks in the summer breeze. Sometimes, when I see a red Tesla, I get a little jolt, but mostly I just feel at peace. Do I regret it? Not for a second. I wish it had never happened, but I'm proud I stood my ground. The system didn't help, so I made my own justice, loud, pink, and impossible to ignore. Sometimes that's what it takes to stop a bully. Maybe it made our little world a little kinder. I like to think so. So, tell me, what would you have done? Where's the line between fighting back and going too far? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear how you'd handle a Sharon on your street.